Welcome to New Zealand Murder History Podcast. How's everyone doing today? Hey. My name is Chef. Welcome to my show. I hope you like it. Well, today we're going to be discussing a really disturbing case. It's quite messed up. Anyone who's suffering from suicidal thoughts, or maybe just having a really bad day, don't watch this podcast. I mean, maybe come back to it if you're in a better mood. It's pretty horrific. When I say pretty horrific, I mean it's very bad. It involves a murder, a couple of suicides, sex crimes on underage teenager, stuff like that. You know, it's all bad. Yeah. But it is a very interesting story. That's why I chose to tell it. It also has a message for the people of New Zealand, and the message is very strong and powerful. It's about a schoolgirl who chose to stand up against a evil monster. But anyway, let's start it. Disclaimer, this podcast is not intended to disrespect anyone in the case. It's just education about the pitfalls of New Zealand life. Amber Rose Rush vs. Dr. Octapus Monster Face. Plenty of articles I read for this one. However, most information is from an article on Radio New Zealand website before and after the death of Amber Rose Rush. Also, newzealandherald.co.nz, 27th of the 11th, 19, the killing of Amber Rose Rush and how the case unfolded. Other ones include Otago Daily Times, Family Glad Scantha Loses Appeal. I mean, I read all the articles that come up when you Google search Amber's name, so yeah, quite a few articles I had to read to research this case. But anyway, this podcast is not suitable for children. Kids, click off. It's pretty nasty. It's in fact terrifying from start to finish. Alright, let's start it. Amber Rose Rush was a Dunedin schoolgirl. She liked to party with her friends, spending time with her family, or just chilling with her boyfriend, Kristen Clark. Taking out whack pedophiles was just something she did in her spare time. Amber Rose Rush was probably the best thing ever. Bernard Scantha was a junior doctor and sketchy weirdo. At 30, he liked to drink with underage girls at his flat, and sometimes with other weirdo friends of his. One night at a party, Amber Rose was drunk, and she also believed she was drunk, and Dr. Scantha did something untoward to her. But cut. Stop the podcast for a minute. We'll get back to this. I just wanted to say to any young people watching this, it's normal to want to be grown up and to have older friends. But actually, any full-grown adults who are trying to drink with teenagers are creepy and to be kept away from. I mean, this guy was especially bad news, but, Amber didn't know that at first. She met Bernard Scantha through a mutual friend, a 16-year-old bloke. He's referred to as Witness 32. Scantha told all his young friends to call him Vinny. Basically, this guy's a 30-year-old bloke who has a few mates his own age, other predators also into schoolgirls, and he would throw big parties at his flat in Fairfield, Dunedin, and there would be alcohol, school kids, and a bit of casual drug use. So yeah, all the wrong things you could think of in one sentence. But school kids want to drink alcohol and act grown up, so they would show up and get drunk, boys and girls. Amber and her group of mates couldn't see the monster. They thought their friend Vinny was all good. A fatal mistake, I know, but it was just one of them things, Pause this podcast a minute. I just wanted to say Amber Rose Rush is the greatest thing ever. Thanks to Amber Rose, the New Zealand public can go to Dunedin Hospital and they won't be seen to by Dr. Scantha, because he don't work there no more. In fact, he don't work anywhere anymore. He died in a prison suicide in Otago Correctional Facility. That's a prison just outside the township of Milton in Otago, South Island, Dunedin. Well, now I'm getting ahead of myself. How did this all go so wrong? Alright, back to the story now. Well, Amber and her friends partied with Dr. Scanther, Octopus Monster. Everything seemed all good. So good, in fact, that Amber and her friend were talking about moving in. Amber Rose Rush had problems with abusive blokes before, like her 16-year-old ex-boyfriend who threatened to overdose himself when she left him. Another admirer threw a brick through her window to show his undying love. Busted her wrist, he did. What a twat. But still, these blokes were nothing on Dr. Scanther. Amber met the monster in mid-2017, so they knew each other well enough. He texted her asking to pay for sex when she was 15. In New Zealand, prostitution is legal, but girls have to be over 18. The legal age for sex is 16. Scanther was 30. You do the math. And then one day things got even worse. A nasty sex crime. Dr. Octopus took Amber's top and bra off when she was passed out drunk at his flat. Also likely he drugged her. Amber Rose woke up with his hand down her pants, and she slapped the deviant. Then she left. The monster didn't know it yet, but he was in deep trouble, because Amber Rose Rush has Otago schoolgirl power. Time went on. Life went on for a bit. She tried not to think of the monster, but she was disgusted by her ex-friend's actions. She was angry too. Can't a girl just grow up in a world without grown-up blokes trying all these weirdo games on her and texting her trying to lure her into prostitution when she's underage? Why did this all have to be like this? What the hell, people? Then one day the rage and the frustration would all come to a conclusion. It was the 2nd of February 2018. It was that dreadful day. The day when the evil Dr. Octopus Monster would accuse Amber Rose Rush of making a purchase on his credit card on Wish.com. He thought this was the case because he left his wallet in Amber's boyfriend's car the day before. WTF is this guy on about, she probably thought to herself. She has a job at New World. She doesn't need to fraudulently use anyone's credit card. That's ridiculous. More to the point, she just wanted the stupid monster to leave her alone. Probably wanted less than nothing to do with the man. And now he rears his ugly head again. All the rage came flooding back. She just wanted to be left alone. Something changed that day. Amber knew she had to hit the monster back. Amber decided she was going to do the world a favor. Amber replied to Dr. Scanther over private message on Instagram, saying she didn't use his stupid credit card, but that he actually deserved way worse for what he did to her. Dr. Octopus told her to stop being a drama queen and stop spreading rumors, also going on to say that he always brought her stuff, like that makes him a nice guy or something. Amber replied, "Stuff doesn't mean shit when you did what you did. I wasn't talking shit, hun. You should own up to what you did, fucking pervert." You're lucky I don't go to the hospital and tell them how you turn up to work drunk and supply minors with alcohol, then touch them up without consent. Grow up, Vinny. You're 30, for fuck's sakes. Scanther said he didn't mean it. A little later, she would post I'm sorry, her words just fill me with absolute joy. She's so funny. It gets better too, check this out. A little later, she would post the Instagram conversation screenshot for all to see. Witness 32 was calling Scanther and would text him saying, "Vinny, you gotta answer, it's about Amber." He alerted Scanther to the messages. Scanther direct messaged Amber immediately, telling her to take the post down. She declined to do so, also stating she was going to the police and the New Zealand Dunedin hospital. "I hope you pay for it. I hope you go to bed at night hating yourself. I'm going to do the world a favor." Oh man, Amber Rose Rush is funny, man. She's really, really, really funny. Amber Rose Rush was getting sleepy. She didn't know the monster was coming for her. Back in Fairfield, Dr. Octapus Monsterface was up to no good, drinking heavily and texting Witness 32. See, what Amber Rose Rush didn't know was how badly his professional career was going. Dr. Scanther was already in hot water with the DHB he worked for. Having shown up drunk to work to treat patients, this landed him a final warning for serious misconduct. So he was on his last straw, whatever the saying is, you get it. Anyway, there isn't a lot of information online about Witness 32 because he has name suppression. All we know is that Witness 32 was 16 years old in 2018. He was friends with Amber Rose Rush and Vinod Scanther. He was also a boy racer, and he liked to drive the doctor's silver BMW. Anyway, Witness 32 picked up Scanther in his own car that evening. He would later tell police that Vinod Scanther was dressed in all dark clothing and seemed chill but focused. They drove to Amber's family home in Corstrafine, Dunedin, and Witness 32 drew Dr. Scanther a map to Amber Rose Rush's bedroom. He even told him where the spare key was. Although Amber had more heart than anyone, she was no match for a fully grown adult man in a fight. She was a teenage girl. Also, Scanther came armed with a knife. Plus, she was sound asleep, and he had the drop on her. So yeah, it was never really going to go well. The monster stabbed Amber Rose Rush 6 times in the neck. The injuries were inflicted were unsurvivable, and Amber soon died. He covered her face with pillows and left. Not long after, Amber's boyfriend Kristen Clark would knock on her window. He was worried, as they'd just been discussing exposing the doctor to the cops and the DHB. When he got no text reply, he figured he was just being silly. But he thought he'd better come check it out anyway. He came, knocked on her window, thought, nah, she'll be alright, she's just asleep, and he left. Of course, it was already too late, but I'm just saying he obviously cared about his girlfriend a lot. It's very sad. Amber was probably just asleep, so he went home. Well, the next day, the 3rd of February, Amber didn't show up for her shift at the local New World supermarket. So her mum went to check on her. Lisa Rush was completely devastated, calling police later that day. Later that day, in an interview with the cops, Lisa Rush would discuss Dr. Scanther at length, saying Amber told her he was an older guy who exclusively hung out with teenagers. Wow, that's a creepy sentence. Anyway, Amber's mum, Lisa, couldn't cope. She couldn't face the court case. She died by suicide 4 months after the death of Amber. But some statements she made to the police were read out in court, helping convict the monster on murder charges. Witness 32 also gave evidence against Dr. Vinod Scanther, along with a bunch of other people. One guy even saying that Scanther put his hand up some teenager's skirt while she was passed out drunk at his Fairfield home, saying, "It's okay, I'm a doctor." Another teenage girl woke up to find Scanther and a female associate of his, both in their early 30s at the time, stroking her hair. The lady asked her if she wanted to have a threesome with her and Scanther. The teenager got up and left. After all was said and done, the judge gave Vinod Scanther 19 years prison with no possibility of parole. Now, in New Zealand, that's actually a pretty good sentence. That's considered a long sentence. For me, it wasn't long enough. I mean, Scanther killed a teenager to stop her telling cops in Otago DHB that he was up to weirdo games with schoolgirls. He also sexually assaulted her. Maybe the Crown didn't have enough evidence for this crime. But yeah, he was found guilty of 4 counts of threatening to kill. That was for telling Witness 32 that he would kill his whole family if he didn't keep his mouth shut. He wasn't really a very good criminal, was he? I mean, he wasn't exactly a mastermind. He was just anyway, yeah, there was a lot of aggravating factors, I felt like. I mean, he burnt his blood-stained clothes at his ex-girlfriend's place the next day. He built a fire out back under the guise of toasting marshmallows and burnt his clothes. So he's trying to destroy evidence after the crime, so it shows a lack of remorse. Although he did have some remorse, that's why he put pillows over her head, but that just shows that he was in love with Amber, which is gross. Wow. Alright. Anyway. I mean, I'm not even saying that he should have got life without parole, but I mean, come on, 30 years would have been more applicable for the choices he made. Well, anyway. Scantha's lawyer tried to say witness 32 must have killed Amber in some kind of misguided loyalty to the doctor. Oh yeah, that explains everything. Of course, this appeal did not fly. April the 14th, 2021, Scantha would take his own life in his prison cell. The prison guards tried to save him. They were unsuccessful. Well, that's it. That's the story. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word. I mean, it's a very sad story. Yeah, horrific. I remember when this all went down. It was only a few years ago, 2018, and very, 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 very sad. Very high-profile case. There's a few very high-profile Dunedin cases. This is one of them. Anyway, like and subscribe to my channel, but only if you really thought this was a well-researched podcast. I mean, if you really thought it was good, please hit the like button. Anyway, now my 2 cents. Amber Rose Rush would have been better off not to tell Dr. Octapus about her plans to shine light on his very much sideways sexual behavior. End of the day, though, she was a schoolgirl. I mean, she didn't realize what she was up against. She was just trying to make it in a whack world. But what Amber did saved countless future victims from a real-life monster. Although it cost her family dearly, I mean, her mother's death was a direct result of her own murder. Her message is still here, though, for all of New Zealand. Stand up. Stand up against whack monsters. No matter what, stand up. Thanks for your message, Amber Rose Rush. I'll remember you. Well, that sure was a heavy one. I was originally going to do this one on location, but I decided not to do so because it's too soon, and I think the Rush family actually still live in that house. I'm not really sure. I didn't want them to look on the internet and see someone made a podcast and then they've got their actual house in it. You know, it just seemed it was just too soon, so I decided to do this one here anyway, and yeah, I guess that's all I had to say about that.